that I got hit with like all these copyrights, and then I got hit with all these privacies at the same time, like
Right.
violations. And so I already got to the people in YouTube, and they're looking at it right now.
Right.
But they saw that like they've already told me like, okay, give us a second. It'll probably be this week that I'll get the Luthmann news back up. But
Right.
it's just a pain because I had 15 or so that I had to put in the copyright counter requests for,
Right.
and then they were all Dinesh stuff. Dinesh doesn't like the fact that he's losing his case in in Florida in the
Right.
Middle District Court, and so he's losing his case where he's suing people, he's trying to get like millions of dollars out of them and shake down the insurance company, and
Right.
Jeremy was helping him down there, and also I'm suing him. I'm suing him for calling me a pedophile. He called me a pedophile, which is not
Right.
very good, and it's very bad. It's defamatory. So.
Right. Right.
So they hit that account, and so this is my personal account, obviously, the Richard Luthmann. But the other one is my Luthmann News. It's my news dissemination. It's my livelihood, basically. I'm a journalist, and if I'm going to be on YouTube, that's where my stuff is. So I'm
Right.
just gonna play. I'm playing the ball game with these people. I'm actually, I've met a nice couple of people actually. Going back and forth with them on the email and everything. So it's good. So they're I'm giving them all the opportunity that they want to do it. And what I started doing on all my videos, I started putting disclaimers on all my videos to show that it's the EDSA for YouTube, the
Right.
educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic. And some of
Right.
it falls into all the categories to a certain extent. But it's journalism, and I started doing music now too. Parody songs and everything else, satire, full blown
Right.
satire. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So that's one thing. Second thing is, all you guys are out. I feel alone now, in the Jeremy Hales case. So Volpe and I did a show the other day, and that's on this channel, my YouTube channel, that my personal is the Rich Luthmann. It's at Rich
Right.
Luthmann. And I did say that Jerm's helping Dinesh. Jerm and Dinesh are talking to each other. He admitted it on several of his things on his channel. So I get to do discovery in the Dinesh case about all his conversations and all his lawyers' conversations with Jerm and with Jerm's lawyers, Turner Incolas and Shockett and all those people. So that's going to be part of my case that I have going on down in Fort Myers. And now this case that's still going in the Northern District, everybody's going to be out of it except for me. And they just filed this third amended complaint. And me and Volpe did the show the other day where we talked about how the case is over as a matter of law, because of one of the most famous Supreme Court cases that I think a lot of people have heard about. A lot of people have seen the movie, The People versus Larry Flint.
Yeah.
And so that's based on Hustler Magazine versus Falwell. Hustler Magazine, Larry Flint's magazine, and Jerry Falwell is the preacher. And basically, there was a very total Larry Flint, over the top bombastic satire about Jerry Falwell's first time. I believe he tried to insinuate that Jerry Falwell's first time was with a farm animal, and he publishes it in Hustler Magazine, and they did this and they did that, and it gets all the way, they sue each other for defamation, copyright infringement. It gets all the way to the Supreme Court, and that case stands for the very simple proposition that no matter how emotionally distressing it is, satire of a public figure is not defamatory. It's protected by the First Amendment, no matter how emotionally distressing you feel it may be. And so that's what we have in a nutshell in the amendment that Jerm has filed in his case. Jerm turned around and he filed this request for a third amended complaint. And the third amended
way past the deadline.
Well, he there's no deadline for me and Michelle, in the sense that we weren't taken out of it yet. So he's put into the third amended complaint, and he's dropped the Polymop. He's dropped the ecosystem claims, the anti-Hales ecosystem. The only thing that's left is the Florida revenge porn statute. He's arguing that.
Well, what I don't understand though is Hinkle told him, if you're going to file a third complaint, it needs to be an amended complaint. It needs to be in by April 2nd.
Well, that's going to be one issue that I'm going to be talking about.
Right.
But that he's wasn't timely with it, and the court might even do that as well. But listen, I'm at the point where it's this: I have case law the People versus Larry Flint case, Hustler
Yeah.
magazine versus Falwell, that basically says that the core claim that he's making now, that he and Megan Fox and everybody else is so distressed by a satire video that I made. Everybody's watched it. It's clearly satire. It's not revenge porn. He said that it emotionally distressed him so much that he deserves $375,000 worth of damages. Now I'm covered on like 6 or 7 different levels. One, the
Right.
law covers me. Number two, he's not going to get a penny out of me. I got the government wants money out of me before they're
Right.
going to get their money before Germ gets his money. So it's like
Right.
he's tilting at windmills. So it's like what I think of this as is like in football when somebody jumps off sides, you get a free play. And I'm thinking that this case turns into a free play for me. Volpe says you could just talk about the Hustler case right away, and you should get the case dismissed and make the case be over with. But I'm thinking, if I have that in my back pocket and the court has to recognize that at a certain point, let's let this court be what it's been the whole time and just delay and create Palomop and everything else. And let me have some fun with Jeremy Hales at this point, right? I'm actually going to respond to the court and say, you know what? I think that everything that Jeremy Hales wants to do is great. I want to create more content for myself. I've watched him for several years use his lawsuits to make content and videos and everything else, and I want to do the same thing as Jeremy Hales. So, Judge, I don't want you to dismiss anything. I want to go to discovery. I want to get all sorts of materials from him and the people that are around him, and I want to have shows about it. I want to be like Shizzy Wiznuts and Jay Jip and all the rest of them and just read the things that Jeremy Hales produces and read them on the air and do all that stuff. I think that might be a lot more fun. Volpe's like, no, just make the case go away, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, why don't I just ask him for discovery and file motions for sanctions and have all the fun stuff that we're going to do. So I'm thinking about doing that. You watch the show and I talk about it that I have with Volpe, but that's really what I'm playing with in my mind here. And just have him have to deal with me for the next 4 or 5 years just in litigation. And cause it, he'll be costing himself a lot of money because he's going to pay Shaka to do it. Shaka's not going to do it for free. And then even if he gets $1 million judgment against me, he's never going to collect it. So it's going to be a lot of fun for me. No downside. In between, I'll be able to have fun. I'll be able to make decent content. It is what it is. It's like a free play for me. But what I do is I send you something, and I'll put it up here if you want me to put it up here. But I'll pull. Let me see if I have it here. Let's see. From my computer, I'm going to do the thing from my side. Let's see, Jeremy Hales, and this is the motion to amend. Now, I'll send this over here to you, and you'll see what it is. It's actually pretty straightforward. It's only like 2 pages long, and when you do the, it says it's processing. Okay. Do you have to click something, Lisa, or what? Did you see it? Oh, hold on. Let me make it work again. Oh, here it is. All right. So this is, some of you might have seen this. Before you do a motion, and actually go down to the bottom. I think his first email is on the bottom. Go all the way down.
I'm not supposed to be
it's mine.
Email,
I'm the one in control. Here it is.
Yeah.
So the very bottom of this page, Tuesday, April 14th, Shock at Law Group. He says, we are writing to you as the law firm representing plaintiff Jeremy B. Hales in the above referenced case. We do not represent you. Nothing in this email should be considered legal advice to you. If you have a question on how to respond to this email about your rights, you should consult with an attorney. And basically, the Northern District of Florida Local Rule 7.1 requires attorneys to confer in good faith with opposing parties before filing most motions. And we all know this. You had to do this, Lisa, before. We have to confer with the guy. You send the email back for. This email fulfills that requirement. That's what he says. We are writing to inform you that plaintiff intends to file a motion asking the court for permission to file a third amended complaint and ask whether you consent to oppose or take no position on this motion. Please respond within 24 hours. Thank you. And so this is my response to his what's called a request to meet and confer. And you have to do a meet and confer. It's a court rule, local rule 7.1b. Okay? And if you don't meet and confer, you have a big problem. The big problem is that the court tells you go back and meet and confer. I'm dismissing your motion, but it's called without prejudice, right? Meaning that you can bring it again and we'll deal with it on the merits, meaning we'll deal with what you say in the motion, but you have to actually confer with the other side first. And so
Right.
I
Yeah,
told
I
Shockett
saw
this.
this. I saw.
I said this back to
Like everybody
Shockett
else, go ahead.
on the 15th, right? On the
Right.
15th of April. That was 5 days ago. Mr. Shockett, your April 14th, 2026 email does not satisfy the meaningful conference requirement of Local Rule 7.1B of the Northern District of Florida, right? And this is what it says in the rule. The rule is explicit. An email or other writing sent at or near the time of the filing of the motion is not a meaningful conference. So my whole argument is, look, he didn't confer with me meaningfully on this third amended complaint, and the whole thing has to go. And I say it right here. I say your message sent contemporaneously with your stated intent to file a motion and demanding a response within 24 hours falls squarely within what the rule expressly rejects. It is
Right.
not a conference, it is a notice of intent to file. So if that
Right.
email that he sent that I just read is him telling me, oh, I'm going to file this. And it really is not going to matter what I said back to him or not, because it's his notice of intent to file. And he did
Right.
that to you, Lisa. He did that to Rob. He did that. He just does like a machine gun, he just
Right.
shoots it back into the court. And that is
Yep.
actually, it violates the court rules. It's very, very clear it violates the court rules. And I cited a whole bunch of case law. I said courts within this district routinely reject such perfunctory efforts, meaning that
Right.
when he doesn't really try at all to conference with you, the court's going to reject it. I cited a whole bunch of cases. The Williams case, in fact, email exchanges are insufficient where no substantive discussion occurred. That's what we have here. He didn't discuss anything with me. I had the all assets rejecting cursory written communications as non-compliant. That's what we had, cursory communications. And the Gonzalez case, requiring good faith substantive conferral, not perfunctory contact. And this is what
Right.
this is. This is perfunctory contact. He didn't ask me anything like that would resolve the issues, that would make it so we didn't have to file the motion, that we could resolve the case. And I said it to him. Your own filing underscores the problem. You certify conferral by email, yet no actual discussion, negotiation, or issue resolution effort occurred. This is precisely what Rule 7.1b prohibits. So this
Right.
rule's in place. Why did the court put it in place? Because the courts don't want to deal with this crap. You saw how long it took for them to get out with basic decisions. They have lots and lots of cases, and if the parties can confer, then there's a good chance that they can try to resolve the issues. But if they
Right.
shoot this stuff in without conferring, that's just making it harder on the judges and on the courts. So
Right.
I say this very clearly. Luthmann seeks to comply with the rule in good faith and to actually resolve or narrow issues before motion practice. To that
Right.
end, I am available for a meaningful in-person conference which the rule expressly encourages. And then I say the most important part here. Given the history of mischaracterized communications, a clear and reliable record is required. An in-person meeting at a mutually agreed neutral location is appropriate to ensure transparency and avoid further disputes over what was said. Why is that important? Because I just had Hinkle before saying that we can't copy the court on emails, so I can't make a record in writing. So I can't confer with Mr. Shockett in writing over email,
Right.
because the records could always be manipulated if the court's not on the emails. That's number one.
Right.
Number two, I can't confer with him over the phone because in Florida, it's a two-party consent state. And it's actually a crime if you tape somebody and they don't want to consent to it. And he's not going to consent to being taped. So the only thing we have left is an in-person conference. I have to go meet him in person. And you have every right to wear a body camera when you go and meet in person, right? So I'm going to go just like cops do and wear a body camera up there. A cop could walk in and they could have a body camera on. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm going to be like a cop. I'm going to have a body camera on. And I'm also going to have my people with me. I'm going to have helpers, and I talk more about that. But we have an agenda at the conference that I want to discuss with my helpers. And it'll be the lack of personal jurisdiction and defective service. And I say the claims against Luthmann suffer from fundamental service defects that cannot be cured by amendment at this stage. What does that mean? That means that under the federal rules, you have, I think, 90 or 120 days to serve somebody once you assert the claim against them. The claim that he asserted against me is this claim under the revenge porn, right? He said I did a revenge porn, and he already said this back last July when he amended. Remember he made that amendment last July, Lisa? So
Yes.
he did that. It's like 9 months later. He's had 9 months to serve me on this claim, and he actually has not served me personally. He tried to serve my dad. He tried to do this. He tried to do that. He tried to serve me through the Secretary of State, saying I was evading. And it's clear
Right.
that I've been not evading service. So we have to have that issue resolved. Number one. Number two, there's a subject matter jurisdiction issues, right? That's called threshold jurisdictional objections, including enforceability of prior dispute resolution agreements. So this is two issues, right? Issue one is the case and controversy requirement. In federal court, in order to have me in federal court, there has to be diversity of citizenship. So Jeremy's from Ohio, now I'm from Florida. We have that, but you need to have $75,000 worth of damages. He's claiming that a video that was placed on YouTube and Substack and some other places has cost him over $75,000 worth of damages. And yet his complaint that he has doesn't detail it out. The same way that in the complaint that was dismissed against you and Robbie and everything else, he didn't detail how he was harmed. And Hinkle and Bolitho went into that. He didn't detail how he got to the harm. Well, he hasn't detailed 75,000 worth of harm to him. He hasn't said that people stopped talking to him, the specific people that stopped talking to him, the contracts that he had with them, the value of those contracts, the amount of money that he lost because of a video that I made that allegedly hurt him. So we have a subject matter jurisdiction issue there to get it into federal court. The second subject matter jurisdiction issue is the one that I really like, and that's the Arbitration Act, the Federal Arbitration Act of 1925. And Jeremy has accepted the trial by combat offer that we made to have a fight to the death, and so that divests the federal court of jurisdiction. So if me and Jeremy go to fight to the death and I kill him, then that's where this has to go. We've already agreed to take it outside the court and subject it to alternative dispute resolution, which will be a situation where me and him are going to duel to the death, hopefully. That's what I want to do. I want to actually take knives and I want to stab him as many times as I can. So that's if the court allows it, then I'm going to ask. That's the request that I'm going to make of the court. I'm not talking about violence because it's not violence if it's court sanctioned. You have to understand for those purposes. Okay.
Yeah, but you really think the court's going to sanction that? Do you really think they're going to do that, Rich?
Well, we have to go over the issue, don't we? And if it's not, and the way the courts talk about it is, if the court won't sanction me stabbing him to death or him trying to stab me to death and failing, then what they can do is they can sanction something that's lesser than that. They could say we have to do paintball, or we have to do tic-tac-toe, or we have to do tiddlywinks, or we have to do cornhole. We have to have some type of contest. The whole idea of the agreement was for us to have some type of contest outside of the court to decide who's the greater man. And I'm a much greater man than he'll ever be. He's a little wimp. And so what's going to happen is I'm going to prove that I'm a greater man in the way that I want to, in some type of contest, some type of trial by combat. So the court has to rule whether or not we get that. And the court doesn't say that the contract's no good or the agreement to go to arbitration is no good. The court says you've agreed to arbitration and we'll help you set the terms. Now go do your arbitration. And our arbitration is going to be some type of trial by combat or some type of alternative dispute resolution.
Sometimes says no cornhole, please.
Yeah, cornhole's pretty dumb. I'd rather do darts, actually. Darts, I would kick his ass in darts. I'm pretty good at darts. But then the other part about it is the scope and viability of the proposed amendment. That's number 3. And so the scope and viability of the proposed amendment is the point about the porn statute, the revenge porn statute. Now, in order for there to be a revenge porn statute, violation, there has to be like, some type of intimate partner video.
Right.
That means that either Jeremy or Megan was previously my intimate partner, so that they're saying that I had sex with the crocodile copulator, or his floozy. I didn't have sex with any of them, so that's out of the window. Or that I kind of did, like I taped them. I was standing outside a car, taping them having an intimate moment, because that's the scene that's depicted. And there is no car because that was a video of Andrew Tate in a car. It's a satire video, so it's not a real video. So that's the big issue here. They have no claim here because it's a futile claim. It has to be real. The other part about it is, in order to make it work, they have to show really severe and substantial emotional distress. And they're claiming that because I made a video with a satirical depiction of them, I've harmed them to a level that's so extreme and outrageous that they've been harmed and they can't do anything with their lives, that they're worthless people. Now, they were worthless people before. So they have a big problem trying to prove that the reason why they're worthless is me, number one. But number two, they can't show that the video I did, which was satire, did anything wrong to them. That goes back to the Larry Flynn case. You know, it's you're allowed to do satire of a public figure. Megan Fox is a public figure. She's a journalist. She reports publicly. She injects herself out there. She's with PJ Media for many years. She's got all these followers. Hales is specifically and very much so a public figure. He has several different channels on different social media that totals over 1 million viewers or users easy. So he's a mega influencer. He's clearly a public figure, and he injects himself out there. So they're in that box where they can't be shrinking daisies, that they have to deal with it. And there's nothing that can be emotionally distressing to them that's satirical. And so I tell this to Shockett, and I tell him very basically, on no uncertain terms, unless and until a meaningful conference occurs, any motion filed will be opposed on non-compliance with local rule 70B1 in addition to all substantive grounds. If you are serious about complying with local rules, propose dates, times, and a neutral location for an in-person conference. Otherwise, your motion will proceed on a defective conferral record. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So the motion that was filed, I think it was filed on, it was filed this week. I think it was filed, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday. And me and Mike did a show about it. That's filed in the court, and it's proceeding on what's called a defective conferral record.
It's so Mike and I.
Yeah, me and Mike. Mike and I, whatever the hell you say. So what we did was, what I'm doing tomorrow is I'm filing a notice of filing. I'm going to bring it to FedEx, Kinko, or UPS store, one of those places. I'm going to send it up to the Gainesville court, and it's called a notice of filing. And all I'm doing is filing a notice, and with this email attached, to say that it's a notice of filing to put this as part of the court record.
Right.
And then I'm going to respond to his motion, my opposition to the motion. I have 14 days under the federal rules, so I have, till the end of the month to do it. So
doesn't he still have to serve you? No.
Well, it got filed with the court, so there's probably something in the mail that I'm going to get on like Monday, tomorrow or Tuesday from the Gainesville court. And I'm going to actually get the paper copy of the motion. So once I get that, then I'll have to respond to it. And so I'll file and I'll respond to it. But I'm going to file this notice of filing and file this email with the court so that when they see this, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to dismiss the motion without prejudice and tell the parties to confer. They may very well do one or two things. They may give us directives to confer, or they may even call us in. I really want them to call us in because my intent here, and I hope Jeremy's listening and watching, is I'm bringing on armed guards with me to meet with Shockett. They're going to have body cameras on them, and they're going to be no different than any law enforcement officer in the state of Florida. I may be hiring private investigators, private detectives, not the G-Man, Robin, not G-Man. He's not getting. But I'm going to hire some people that will come with me, and that in Florida, the Second Amendment is your right to carry, but they're going to be, licensed people. And if anything goes wrong, I need to be protected. I'm going to use the Second Amendment to protect the First. And the First Amendment is my right to petition for grievances and my right to free speech and free press. So I need protection, and that's how this is going to go down. We cannot do a written conference because it can't be clear, and he's already ignored me. It sends notices and he doesn't do conferrals. We can't do a telephonic conference because there's been no phone calls, and he won't allow it to be taped. We have to do this in person. And frankly, if we're going to go to someplace, it could turn into the OK Corral because of Randy Shockett. Randy Shockett might cause this thing to turn into the OK Corral. I don't want it to go that way. I always think, listen, the peace is always the answer. Right. But I'm always going to have somebody there with a Glock just in case. That's just what it comes down to.
Let me ask you something. Is it when he filed it? Because I saw what he was going to file. He obviously filed it. I saw the beginning, but I didn't look at the actual like the signatures and stuff. So when he first sent that, he had said that you guys, in conferring, you guys opposed, both you and Michelle, opposed the filing of this or the motion to amend, and it was dated the 14th, but he didn't file it until the 16th, and you guys did. Well, Michelle opposed, but you didn't oppose. You were trying to confer with him. So the fact that he filed that, did it still say that same date and said that you guys both, uh, opposed?
Well, the court is smart enough, I
Does it
believe.
matter?
I think the court is smart enough to infer from my notice of filing when I file this, that there might be some issues there. I'm going to definitely bring that up in my actual opposition. I'm going to ask for a referral to the U.S. attorney and to the FBI that he perjured himself in documents. And I'm going to this is what me and Volpe are arguing about. I really want to take this and just turn this into fun. I want to have fun with just harassing this man and both these people, Jeremy Hales and Randy Shock and everybody that they know. I want to harass them. I want to use this litigation because they're using it to harass me. I want to harass them and make their lives miserable. I want to just take them. I want to be like the bad penny that they can't get rid of. I'm the bad penny. I'm Rich Luthmann, the bad penny. That's what it's going to come down to. So,
I mean, you would just be doing the same thing that they're doing, but in reality, you know, you're doing the right thing by questioning and holding them accountable at the same time.
well, that's
For
exactly
the
right.
law, for what their correct motions, filings, procedures, you're holding
Yeah.
them accountable. Even though you're saying that what you're saying, it's going to annoy them. You're kind of doing the Palomop thing that they were doing,
I'm going to
but
do that,
you're
and
holding them
I hope it
accountable.
annoys. I hope it annoys them, and I hope it annoys the court too,
Right.
because when the court gets annoyed, I'm going to say to the court, ask yourself the question: why is Rich Luthmann in your court? Because Jeremy
Right.
Hales and Randy Shockett brought him in here. I would not be in your courtroom. I would not be in your courthouse. I would not be wasting your time. You wouldn't even know my name, but for Jeremy Hales. And so
Right.
that's why I'm here, and I'm going to make a mess of the goddamn place. It's
Yeah.
going to be like, I've been kicked out of better places than this. It's going to be like I got friends in low places. You know,
Yeah.
blaming all my roots.
Yeah.
I
When the
showed up in
circus
boots and
comes
ruined
to
your black
town,
tie
baby.
affair. That's what
Yeah,
it's
and
going
when
to
you're
be.
saying, like, I just want to point out, like, when you're saying harassment, you're talking about, like, with these lawsuits, because that's what he's been doing to everybody else.
I'm not going
But
to
you
break any
are,
laws. I'm not going to
no,
break
no,
any
I know,
rules. I'm not going to do anything wrong. I'm going to go within the bounds of the law. That's why I'm hiring private security to keep me
right,
safe. And I'm not going to harass these people any more than they're harassing everybody else. But it's not harassment if it's legal
Going to bed.
process. You know?
right. Let
So
me help that. Oh, yeah.
that's that. That's what I'm going to be doing.
But the good thing about it, though, is you're doing it with the law, with ethics, with the proper procedures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what you're doing.
And these judges don't want to deal with it, so I'm going to make them
Right,
have to deal with it. That's why, like, if I file a motion to dismiss, then the case is going to get dismissed. But if I
right,
don't file a motion to dismiss and I file a motion or if I file an answer and then
right,
give a discovery request, then the case doesn't get dismissed and I go to discovery and then we start having discovery conferences and we start having discovery
yeah,
motions and I start getting
yeah,
discovery and then all the discovery he gives me is going to end up, in the public square. I'll give him all my discovery. I don't care. Like he can't cancel me. I've been canceled already by everybody. What are they going to say that hasn't been said already? I'll send them everything. I'll send them naked pictures of myself. I don't give two shits. That's just it.
right,
I'll get a purple thong just for you, Germ. If you want to do that, we'll do it, baby. I don't give two rats asses. But at the end of the day,
Right.
if I do it
right,
that
right.
way, then the way out of the case, then for Germ, he's going to have to either try to pull it back and agree, which I won't, or we go through discovery and we exchange our discovery. He answers all my discovery requests. He answers my request for production. He answers my notices to admit. He answers my interrogatories. I get all sorts of materials. I start subpoenaing third parties like Megan Fox. We do her deposition. I get materials from her. I get from Tug. He mentioned Tug in the thing. I think he mentioned Shizzy. He mentioned some other people. I get to depose every one of them. I get document requests from every one of them. I get to do what's called the advocate witness rule. Randy Shockett is not just an advocate; he's a witness to and a party to this stuff. I'm going to say he's a conspirator, so I'm going to try to get him disqualified I'm going to get Doreen Turner Incolas disqualified. I'm going to make him have to hire
Are you
another
going to bring
lawyer.
up that other? Are you going to bring up that other case that with the what is it, the Griffiths and the what's the other name?
No,
With the
I'm going to bring up every case that he's ever had. I'm going to anything he's ever done. I'm just going to keep on trying to
because I think it's really
dig.
odd that the cases that he's gone after with Michelle is almost identical. And he came
Yeah.
on at a certain time in Jeremy's case when Michelle was suing him with not suing him, but she was doing a temporary restraining order. That's
Yeah.
when Shockey came in. So I think it's very odd timing, and both cases are almost identical like that. So I would definitely bring that up because all he's been doing is boggling it down. As a matter of fact, it could almost prove that he was telling Jeremy what to do, back to back, double case, same case. You know.
That's exactly right. And so the point of the matter is, whatever. I don't care. What do I care? I got nothing to lose. What do I care? That's just I don't care. I really don't care. And think about it. I'm nobody, right? I have nothing that he can take from me, and I'm a sick enough person that I would enjoy him talking about me for the next 5 years and his whole ecosystem talking about me but the more he talks about me, the more it raises my stature. Right? It talks about, Richard Luthmann, Richard Luthmann, it's like a free PR for me. So think about it. He paid the filing fee, the $405 to file this case. Right? I file motions. Maybe what do I pay? $10-15 to send it in the envelope. So I'll file. Let's say I file 50 motions. That's nothing. That's no money at all. That's $500. So that's my sunk cost for getting all this free publicity. I'm going to get free publicity the next few years, and it's all over because once these cases are in the federal court, they're all over the place. So this is great for me. This is great move. It's great content for me. It's a great content for everything else, and they say get a hobby. This is going to be my hobby. Jeremy Hales is going to be my hobby the next 4 or 5 years, but I get to subpoena everybody else too. And some of the people that are his followers are like John Grems. I'll subpoena him. I'll use the legal system to quote unquote harass him a little bit. I'll go after Jay Jip. I'll go after Michelle Wolf. I'll go after Rosalind Duke. I'll subpoena all these people. I need to know what's going on with all this stuff, and I'll go as far as I need. Let him fight the subpoenas. Let them fight the subpoenas. Let me try to bring them in as third parties. Let me do what I got to do. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a lot of fun actually for me because I really have nothing to lose. These people, they think that it's like, oh no, we're going to get you. Well, I don't care. You're wrestling with a pig. You're going to get filthy at this point. So I'm going to get these people filthy. I don't care. No fucks given, right? Here's the field where I sow my fucks. There's no fucks given for anybody. I don't really care. So this is actually, and that's what Volpe said. Volpe's like, just move on, get a life, do something else. I'm like, I don't want to. Fuck them. Everybody else decides, do that. I'm going to be the bigger person. Well, guess what? I'm not going to be the bigger person. I'm going to be just as much of an asshole. I'm going to double down, and I'm going to teach these people a lesson. But I'm also going to teach the courts.
That is it. You would be, and you'd be using the court, and you'd be showing the court what he's doing.
Well, I want to show the court what he's doing, but I want to show the courts a weakness that they have. And I'm going to talk to the people that know the administration as well. We'll see what happens after the midterms, if there's anything that can go through. But they could probably get an amendment to the federal rules of civil procedure to kind of curtail this type of situation. But I'm going to show them how litigants that are not there to litigate about a case, but are there to create content, can waste an inordinate amount of the court's time and resources and energy, and also cause the courts, not by anything other than by being there, to cause the courts to wonder, what are these people doing that are federal judges appointed by the president, confirmed by the Senate, being arbiters of social media bullshit at the end of the day? That's what it is. This is like social media bullshit. It's a satire. It's this, that, the other thing. He hasn't been tagged as a vexatious litigator yet since all the cases, the Griffith case, the Dan Owen case, this case, that, the Fed one. There's like 6 or 7 cases. He should be a vexatious litigator and not be able to bring cases. And Shaka should be sanctioned. And, he could even be disbarred or should be, but they're not doing that. So you have a bar association's not doing anything, and you have a courts that are not doing anything. So I'm going to teach these people what to do, and that's what I'm going to have a lot of fun with it.
Is that one of the humors?
Right. Probably. Now, is it true that the bar can't investigate him while the case that they're referring to is still in court?
Yeah. So it's up. It's Randy Schock. It's in his interest to keep this thing going forever. One, he gets to bill the shit out of Jeremy Hales, and number 2, he gets to avoid a going to the ethics committee. Now, the power that I have against that is I'm going to create my arguments for the advocacy witness rule, where he's both the advocate and the witness, so he can't serve as the lawyer, so he can't collect fees. Number one, and number two, the crime fraud exception that Randy Shockett was involved in some of the crimes and frauds that Jeremy Hales was, and therefore the attorney-client privilege gets pierced, and I get every conversation that Jeremy Hales and Randy Shockett ever had. And if I have that, wouldn't that be fun to read some of that on air, Lisa? If we have conversations about Shockett and Germ talking about all of us?
Yes, that would. That would be very interesting.
That's the point. That's what I'm going to get in Discovery. I'm going to get conversations he has talking about all of us. And so when I get that stuff, you're going to get a nice package. Robbie's going to get a nice package, all the stuff that he said about Robbie. We'll get all the stuff he said about Ray. We'll get all the stuff he said about Super Dave. We'll get all the stuff about Helm, but everybody else, about Leslie, Leslie Lips, all that stuff. That's all the stuff that he said that he thought nobody would know. His conversation he thought they were going to be private are going to become public conversations.
Oh, shit.
And I'm going to make sure of that. That's why I want to stick around on this case. People won't understand that, and I think Volpe doesn't understand that either. It's like I'm going to get some of his most intimate conversations, some of his most private conversations. I can get all his conversations with Martha. Everything that he said to me. What?
How do you know they're recorded?
If he has an email conversation with Martha, if he has text messages with Martha, that's all stuff is all sitting on servers someplace. He probably has Gmail accounts. He has Holly and Jeremy Adventures at Gmail.
Yeah, I know, man.
He has a Gmail. He has all these different email accounts that they don't delete the emails at Google. When Google gets hit with a subpoena, they give it up.
This shit.
Yeah, I'm going to get years worth of emails from this guy, right? Number one, and all the people that he spoke to. And I'm going to see also if he used Jeremy and Holly Adventures, or he used Jeremy B. Hales to file these YouTube complaints, right? If he filed the copyrights, he filed the deplatforming and everything else, it may give rise to me to bring more claims against him in other cases for the deplatforming. So him being present in Florida, right? I can sue him under the deplatforming law, under Florida law, in Florida court. I could make that decision to sue him in Florida court and under the deplatforming law. You make him, if he wants to remove the federal court, that's fine. But I'll sue him down here in Lee County, or Fort Myers, wherever I need to sue him, Naples, wherever I got to sue him, whether it's federal court or state court. And what's he going to do about it? What's he going to do about it?
So did he file copyright against you? Jeremy himself?
He hit me with copyright claims, and I filed counters, and he didn't turn them around. But if I can show that I'm going to get his emails, and part of the discovery I'm going to get is every time he filed a copyright claim from one of those emails, I'm going to get that in discovery. It might not be against Rich Luthmann. It could have been against Lisa Lee. It could have been against Robbie. It could have been against other channels. I'm going to have a list of every claim that he's filed.
At least filed one against me.
Well, you know that. And then what I'll do is I'll go.
I won it. By the way,
I'll go to the people and I'll ask him for the claims that he filed, and then I'm going to go to the companies. I'll go to Google and YouTube, Alphabet, and I'll ask them for their records, and they'll give them to me, and then I'll show that this guy has a that's part of his MO, because I'm going to be filing counterclaims against him. I might bring this as the counterclaim, that I bring. So I'm going to file several counterclaims against him to get all of this stuff. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
Interesting.
People don't understand how much you can get in discovery, how broad and liberal and you can get stuff, because it's made for lawyers to make money, right? So discovery is made so that they don't end discovery ever. They give you volumes and volumes and volumes, and the lawyers have to bill people to go through it all, and that's what's going to happen. I'm going to have shock, and I'm going to hand shock at everything, and have them have to go through everything and bill Jeremy for that. And they're going to give it to me, and I'm going to go through it. I'm going to enjoy going through it, and I'm going to give it to the people that need it, and I'm going to hand it out. It's going to be disseminated online. It's going to do all sorts of places. And let them try to do a protective order. That they could try to do a protective order. We'll see what happens with that, because there's a First Amendment as well. So, they're not going to be able to protect. It's only a protective order if you can't use the stuff for emotion. And so if I put some of the stuff that I get and put it in an emotion, then it all becomes, publicly available information. So if I make counterclaims and all the stuff that I get shows what I'm trying to show in my counterclaims, he's done.
Right. Right. Wow. Well, I mean, I think the good thing about it is the discovery. Yeah, obviously, the discovery that you get because he's just threatening to constantly sue other people too. It's just going to continue on and on and on, and you'll have the evidence of pretty much everybody involved. You know,
It's going to be a
so
post-mortem, and then if
Night,
stuff
brother.
stuff starts getting destroyed because he's probably already done spoliation of evidence. That's called evidence destruction, evidence tampering, that type of stuff. And Shock gets involved with that too, or if Jeremy or anybody else. That's going to be problematic. But the best part is this is all on YouTube. His whole world is a YouTube world, and guess what? They have some of the best record keeping at YouTube and at Alphabet and at Google. They have all the records, so it's not like this case is not going to be a records case. I'm going to get
right,
all the records from him. I'm going to get all his email. I'm going to get all his IP stuff. I'm going to get all of his complaints. I'm going to all. And if he has someone who's an account manager over at YouTube that helps him out and does this, that, and the other thing, we're going to get that person too. We're going to be able to maybe potentially bring in YouTube as a counterclaim defendant, in the sense that there are some cases that just happened in California, New Mexico, and some other places about social media liability. And I've talked about this before in your show about Section 230, where Section 230 gives large protections to these social media companies, but they've broken the Section 230 immunity, and how they've done that is what's called design defect, right? So if you have something that's designed and that it's defective, then that something is a product. You're selling a product at that point, okay? That becomes a defective design equals product, and that's a product liability case. It's not moderation of content at that point by YouTube. They have a system, and they have an agreement with all the users, the terms and conditions.
right.
And if their system is, even if it has AI and computers and everything else behind it, their system is supposed to do certain things, and your user agreement tells you what it's supposed to do. But if there is a situation where there's mass reporting, and Jeremy Hales and his group, his Cabal, games the system, and they deplatform people like Mike Volpe, who should never have been deplatformed, then that situation it's a defective back-end, defective design by YouTube. That makes the system into a product. And a defective product is actionable outside Section 230 and can be pursued on design defect grounds and on contract breach grounds. Therefore, Jeremy Hales might actually become the person that makes YouTube, cry. And before Jeremy Hales ends up, giving everything away, I have a feeling YouTube will probably deplatform him to cut their own losses. And they may very well turn and settle with me if I do this thing the right way. So that's what the goal of this is. I'm letting everybody know what I'm doing. People say, don't tell your intentions. I really could care less, because this is going to be a lot of fun. I want to get it out there and kind of market and give PR to what I'm going to be doing. I think I'm bringing YouTube into this case because I think that my counterclaims here are going to be design defect against YouTube that was motivated by Jeremy Hales' action. They were acting in concert.
I think YouTube should be brought into this case on the simple fact that look what he's doing to Lisa right now, and it is definitely in the terms of agreement where you cannot maliciously attack people, and that's what this is.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Even if it's not, he's exploiting a defect in the design of the terms and conditions and the systems in place to enforce the safety on YouTube. So the reason why we have these
so many reports on the stuff that he's put out. I mean, for over 2 years, I have reports that other people have reported, just like proof that it's done, been done, and nothing's happened. And the only thing you can come up with is because, he's got 750,000 subscribers, and he makes the money. And, why else are they leaving it all up when he's clearly going against the guidelines? His video tonight is against the guidelines. It's all about me, mocking me, threatening me.
Maliciously attacking. He's threatening. It's so many ways against the guidelines.
Yeah. And so you have a contract that says you have terms of service and agreements. It goes both ways. They can get rid of you, but in the court of law, you can get rid of them. And how you get rid of them is they have to pay you lots and lots of money. Right. And so if they have a design defect, right,
Right, Patty.
that design defect
Right,
is
Patty.
actionable. If they have a contractual issue, that contractual issue is actionable. And the longer that my things go down and the longer that they've taken out accounts and the longer they do this, I get to show the kind of damages I have. And I don't have to go just for myself. I can ask for, because if it's a state of recklessness, right? Once you get to recklessness, and not just a basic mistake, YouTube can't just be mistaken about this. They have an awareness that this happens. They have awareness about mass reporting. They have an awareness that people game the system, and they have awareness that their systems are defectively designed. That becomes something that allows for what's called punitive damages, right?
Right.
I can get $1 worth of compensatory damages. I could be damaged $1, and I can get $50 million worth of punitives. And that's what this case is about right here. This case is about Jeremy Hales and YouTube being potentially saddled with $50 million worth of punitive damages once I file my counterclaims. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. Jeremy Hales, Randy Shockett, and all those people, as well as YouTube, are going to be counterclaimed against. I'm not going to try to dismiss this. I'm not going to bring my counterclaim against them and sue for $50 million. I think that's what we have to do.
Wow, I get that bond too.
But does the story, does that make sense? Does my theory make sense to you?
Yes,
It
100%.
does, absolutely.
Right? The
100%.
products can be defective. If it has a defective design means it's a defective product. Right?
Yeah.
So you get every right.
I love how you're turning everything he's doing against on him, and sure, it's going to give him content, but he's going to do.
I don't think he's going to know what to do with it. He's just going to lie and make shit up about it.
I don't mind. He can say whatever he wants. That's the beauty of speech. He can give as much speech as he wants. I could care less about speech. I'm not going to stop his speech. I'm going to talk more. He can talk more. I'm going to give him all sorts of content. I'll give him all the discovery he wants, because all I need is the discovery that he's going to give me. And it's not even his discovery. It's going to be the stuff that's already at YouTube. So when I bring YouTube in, they're going to come in the case. They're a deep pocket. And given the way that the law has been going for the past few years, and these recent cases about Section 230, we're at the precipice. We're at the threshold. We're at the point of their big tobacco moment. Remember big tobacco for years? They would fight. Well, now we're in big tobacco moment where they're going to have to pay. And I think big tech is at the point where it's going to start doing pay. And I just got to get a ticket. I think this is my ticket in that ball game. At the end of the day, Jeremy and Shockett might make me a very, very wealthy person if I do this thing the right way. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to use them to make me very, very wealthy. But even if they don't, I'm still going to just have fun. I'm going to have all this content out there, and we're going to it'll be a little bit of a gossip game. We'll see everything that he's been saying about people, all the conversations he's been having. It'll be a lot of fun.
My whole thing is I don't want him to hurt people anymore, and the only thing that's going to stop him is the law in court. You know what I mean?
It's someone like Richard.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. I think the cigarette analogy is an apt analogy, right? For years, the cigarette companies, the people were getting hurt, and the biggest reason why they were getting hurt is because the cigarette companies didn't tell people that smoking was bad, right? If you go and tell somebody that smoking is bad, right, then it's a different story. You have a warning on there and everything else. But they actively hit it. You have a situation today where people engage with their digital footprint and their digital life, and you have people out there like YouTube that are supposed to be safeguarding that and allowing everybody to do that. And they allow for this subclass of people, these subhumans, I like to call them, like Jeremy Hales and Megan Fox and their whole cabal, to go and attack people in their digital footprint, their digital world. And because YouTube is related to Google, it affects every facet of your life, right? It'll affect your Google rankings. It'll affect your search rankings. It affects everything related to your accounts and the people that you talk to, anybody that's been connected to you. That the algorithm is so far-reaching, we don't even know the full consequences that activities like Jeremy Hales has, given the defective design of the product that YouTube and Google have been pushing. Because you have to understand, in 3 or 4 or 5 years, it might even be sooner, when you go to the AI, right, Google's AI, they're going to
Right.
be looking up YouTube as part of that. I think they already are. And if you have no YouTube footprint because you've been improperly deplatformed because Jeremy Hales has attacked you've created a distorted version of reality, right?
Right.
Right.
Think about Michael Volpe. Michael Volpe had a YouTube channel as a journalist for many years, and Michael Volpe had his thing deplatformed because Jeremy Hales and his Cabal attacked. He had hundreds and hundreds of videos, maybe thousands, and some of them were very, very helpful to a lot of people, especially in family court, people telling their stories. And those
Right.
videos, a lot of them disappeared for good because of a design defect in YouTube. He was doing journalism, EDSA, educational, documentary, scientific, artistic exception. And Jeremy Hales and his crew found the way to exploit the design defect and to affect the system. And Google and YouTube have been reckless in this. So now the stuff about Michael Volpe had put forward about all those different people that got hurt in the courts, that's not out there. That's not out there to be Google searched, and that's not going to be part of the AI. That's going to be part of anything. It's just dead. Okay, it's dead because these people killed it. They killed the truth. So we can't, as part of society, we can't have these people out there killing truth. They're terrible
Right.
people and they're killing truth. So that's the biggest issue, I think.
Well, that's what we're all
The
about here.
biggest issue is like he got Michael kicked off, and he's doing all this maliciously attacking people constantly, and yet his channel is still flourishing. He's still making real good money at it, and it's being allowed to happen.
Yeah, this is very true, and this is something that's not right. But this is the problem that we have with this world. Do we want a real world, in the digital world, or do we want a hyper real world? And this is what I talk about a lot in my journalism and my writings. There's a vision of hyper reality that people create. It's not real, and when it confronts the actual facts, it explodes, it breaks, it's destroyed. And that's what Jeremy Hales is in a nutshell. He's what's called hyper reality, meaning that he has a constructive narrative, but when you start putting facts against the narrative, it collapses. And what we saw in the very first instance in this case is that he can't even state a claim. He can't get into the discovery part of a lawsuit because his claims aren't even plausible when you have to connect facts to them, right? What I think I want to do using the courts is to show the full, scale of how he's so unmoored, he's so disconnected from reality. And
Right.
I want to show that his disconnection from reality, the design defects of YouTube, and his own activities with his cabal is so harmful. It's just to specific people, but to society at large, to create the need for punitive damages, that YouTube has to fix their design defects and fix the world of the Jeremy Hales types that are exploiting them. So I think that's going to be very helpful for the truth, be helpful for what I do as a journalist. It'll be helpful for others to try to be in a safe place. I think a world that tells the truth is a lot safer than a world that lies and that doesn't tell the truth. I think that we were promised by YouTube to have, in our terms and conditions, to have a safe place. That's trust and safety. Well, how can you trust somebody that doesn't tell the truth, or a platform that has a design defect that doesn't tell the truth? And how can you feel safe when you have a platform with a design defect that doesn't tell the truth, and a design defect that doesn't identify those who are gaming the system? I think that's simple.
Yeah. Well, I'm all for it, Richard. I know you're gonna take that case and you're gonna make them look like a bunch of clowns.
But the best part is they invited me in.
Yeah.
Like, that's the beautiful part. I'm sitting around, I'm sitting around here in Florida, Southwest Florida, doing my thing. I go to church and I, hang out during the day and I do things and I write about things and I read things but I'm like, I had no problem with these people. But they came, they started with me, so I started with them. And so they messed with the wrong one. That's what the problem is. They didn't figure this out. And there's a few people that haven't figured this out yet either.
He added you pretty quickly. I mean, he barely even knew you were out there, and just because you were with Volpe talking about him one time, he went after you because you were the one who kind of, when you were first talking, you were more vocal about him than Michael was, and he just like added you. Meanwhile, because Michael's thing at first, it was a lot of Megan and what Megan was doing, their friendship and everything, and he literally like just threw you into the lawsuit so fast. So fast.
Well, he threw me in because I'm a prick, and I really don't care what other people think. And Mike is very, very diplomatic about a lot of things. He's a very good journalist, and he likes to, he's very cautious about stating things. I don't give a fuck. I go right over the top. I really don't care. So that's one of the reasons. And he thought I was just being a loudmouth. But when I say stuff,
well, that's Richard. Not to interrupt you, but that's what a lot of people were saying. He's just being a smart ass, a dick, and everything. And I'll tell you right now, Rips, my lawyer, was like, "This guy's a fucking genius. This is fucking. He's so smart about this. He just baited Jeremy into this." And he's like, the guy he's going to show judges what a joke this is, what a circus it is. You want a circus? You're going to get a circus. Bring me in.
Yeah.
And Rips said it. Rips called it from day one when you got involved in this. Rips was like, he's a fucking genius.
I said, what did I do? When I heard that they added Rich, I'm like, no way. I'm like, Robbie. I'm like, our day was just made. They added Rich. Sorry, Rich, but we are so excited to see you.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. That's what when you understand the courts, justice is slow and justice is expensive. Those are the two things that justice is in the courts, especially in the United States courts. Like I had something, Joey Camp's doing something right now. My buddy Joey Camp, the journalist, he's a hero journalist in Colombia. He filed something in Colombia, and it took him 10 days to get a judgment. Think about that. Not to get a decision, not to get a judgment. The judgment is in 10 days. It took him. That's how long it takes down in other countries. And it's not like how it is here. It's made here for the lawyers to make money and this and that. So what you have here with this case with me is everything that they don't want in the system. Somebody that doesn't care if they win or lose, somebody that's not paying a lawyer, and somebody that knows what the hell's going on with the law. So it's like, and what are the judges going to do? It's like, what are they, throw me in jail for a year? Okay, I could do that. I could go to jail. I could stand on my head in a trash can if they want to throw me in jail for a year. You kidding me? It'd be the greatest year of my life. You know how much shit material I get for another book? Just talking to people and getting them out of cases. Now, that's what I did when I was in last time. I just had a law practice going. You don't think I'd have a law practice set up within a week and people would have their paperwork done and people would be leaving, and then the U.S. attorney would call up and say, what the hell's going on with all these cases? How come people are getting out of jail?
Right.
That's what was happening last time. That's what happened last time. It was in Brooklyn, and all these guys got all this stuff, and there was a big problem there. They knew it was me. They couldn't do anything about it. What are they going to do? It was just, and then when it was compassionate release, people get compassionate release. It was like, what are these things going to think? They think I'm afraid. That's the thing. Then they can't put fear into somebody. What are they going to whack me? That's about all they can do at this point. I've got people trying to whack me. I'm not really too worried about these people down in Florida. I got real people up in New York and in other places that would whack me. I'm not too worried about these friggin'. They're amateur hour compared to some of the people that I know, and those people are really, really bad people. They're like Russians that will friggin' and Albanians. They're out of their minds. You ever seen those kinds of people? These people are nothing compared to that. What are they going to do? It's like, come on. Jeremy Hales and Randy Schock. They're like second grade, bullies. That's all they are. They're a joke.
Absolutely. That's all. I laugh about this, and then when they tell about the court cases, I'm like, there's things I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm still laughing. Like, I'm not petrified. Like, he thinks he's scaring the crap out of us. You know what I mean? And everybody's going to jail. It's like, for what? You don't even have evidence. You don't even bring your own folders of your court cases to Ohio where you reside, and you're in a court case for 2 years. You finally get like a hearing where there's real witnesses going to be there, and you don't bring your folder and you say you can't answer that question. You don't know it off the top of your head. You've only been talking about it for 3 years. I'm not afraid of these people. I mean, when you're threatening to come to my house, and your people are like coming by filming, taking pictures, and then, throwing their sending me images of their concealing carry permits, and then you're saying you're a mile and a half from my house and it's going down. That's a different story. Yeah, what are you going to do? What's going to happen in front of my house in about 5 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit out there for somebody to come and attack me. I mean, what are you referencing here? That's different. That's where I was like, you know what? This is it. I called the sheriff's office. And I don't know if you know that, but that happened literally yesterday. And I was like, I'm done. You want to threaten me and to try to intimidate? I'm not going to live in fear in my own home. I live in a private area. It's a gated community. You have to get in a gate to come in here. And there's cameras all over it. People can get in. I mean, I live in a big community. And I'm not going to sit around. I live here because I wanted to live a nice life and be comfortable. And, I don't need this crap coming by my house and stuff. And this is how demented I think he is. That's my personal belief. And, he doesn't, with the way he has his fans and stuff, it's like he doesn't even have to do stuff himself. He backs out, sends it to other people's, emails or whatever he's doing. These other people are doing it for him. I don't need someone like DJ Radis coming in front of my house, and then Jeremy's threatening me with my neighbor across the street, taking video and mentioning, HOAs and putting up fences and all this crap, which he can't do. So it's a total joke. But the guy across the street, he only knows about him because he's been arrested for battering his girlfriend, the other neighbor across the street. I'm like, you want to promote that? I'll promote it with you. The guy's an asshole. But now you're going to use him to attack me? Well, guess what? That guy got arrested yesterday, too. And then Jeremy goes and makes a post about having interviews with him. I'm like, well, thank you very much for approving that what I just filed a report on, was you using my neighbor to harass me. And then the next day, boom, there you are reporting. I mean, this guy is so foolish with the stuff he says, and he has such an ego that he can't keep his mouth shut, and he's getting himself in trouble. You know what I mean? And he doesn't think it because he's not been held accountable yet. He lied.
I want to show something, Lisa. I have the screen share. Put the screen up. I want to show the audience and show them why I really don't give two shits. Okay, this is
hard to read, by the way. You should zoom in.
Oh, I'll make it bigger. Hold on. How do I make it bigger? Give me a second. I can make this big. Is that big? Oop.
That's what she said.
Mike Johnson, thank you so much.
Mike.
Is that better?
Yeah.
That good? I just did a quick estimate. I asked the GPT what percentage, because the biggest thing that he talks about, Jeremy, is harassment, right? They've been harassing and they're doing this, they're stalking, blah, 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 blah. In the state of Florida, you have simple stalking, right? Misdemeanor stalking in the first degree. You get a maximum of 1 year in jail. You get, I think, $1,000 maximum fine. The question, though, becomes, how often does somebody sit in jail for a year on a stalking charge that they're found guilty of, right, at trial? Under 1% of convictions. Most receive probation, fines, or short county jail terms, days to months. Meaning that if in any world they were to find Rich Luthmann committed misdemeanor stalking, and I'm an asshole and take it to trial, the worst that I'm probably going to get is, less than 20 or 30 days in jail. Right. And I can do that on a car. I can do cartwheels for 20 or 30 days. I don't give a. It's like a vacation that I never get. It'll be fucking great. I don't have to worry about anything. Jail is stupid. It's like, the stupidest thing. It's like stupid kindergarten. Robbie will tell you. It's like you could do just 20, 30 days in jail is no time. And most people just get a fine or probation. That's all that is. He makes some type of thing about, oh no, you're gonna get this and that. And you're gonna get it. even if he's 100% right, and Jeremy Hales is nowhere near 100% right about anything, okay? But even if he was 100% right that somebody was harassing him, and he was able to get the cops to go get them, and then a state attorney to go prosecute them, and then they went all the way to trial and everything else, you're going to get probation most likely. You have to pay a fine. It might not even get it's going to be a short. It would be a short. Most people don't even go see the inside of a jail cell. Now, for aggravated stalking, look at the next one. Aggravated stalking, 3rd-degree felony, up to 5 years, right? But the prison sentence is 5 to 15 years. Many do result in prison sentences, split sentences, or probation with conditions. But that's felony aggravated stalking. You know what that is? That's when somebody does repeat stuff and they do violent things, and it's like a crazy person. The type of stuff that he's talking about, people sending emails back and forth, people saying things, people doing things. There's no judge that's going to send somebody to jail for a long time for any of the stuff that Jeremy Hales has on his show. It's all the bullshit, If Jeremy had to,
you're right. No one.
So that's the whole point. People have to understand he's like a paper tiger. There's nothing to be afraid of with this person. Right? There's nothing to be afraid of. It's like, that's the point. People don't recognize that he's such a friggin' idiot. And, I'm not scared of him, because he's got nothing to be afraid of. What's he going to do? Sing G-Man after me? Robbie, are you afraid of G-Man?
Yeah, right.
It's not like there are real people out there. There are people that are killers out there. There are people that will actually kill you. I've stared some of these people in the eye. They will take no qualms and they will kill you. That's not Jeremy Hales. That's no one he's around. Jeremy's, I'll give him that. He's not a killer. He might be a dumbass, but he's not like one of these pure evil people. He's just he's an asshole. That's what he is. And he's got a grift. He's a grifter, and he's got this shtick, and he's got this televangelist type thing. But he's not like a maliciously evil person that will like kill puppy dogs for pure pleasure. And there are sick people out there that will do that. And those are the people that go to prison for a long time for stuff like this. But
those are the people you meet in prison.
That's right. That's not what you're going to get. That's not what you're going to get on a harassment charge. That's what the guy doesn't recognize. Or I think the guy does recognize it, but people have to recognize it's all hype.
Right.
Who's been charged with criminally?
What about him harassing other people though, and him stalking people, and many people?
It works for him too, Lisa. It works for him too.
Many people. I mean, he's already got charges in the courts, which have been dropped, I guess, because it wasn't fully prosecuted. But he's got those stalking charges actually showing in the courts. So it'll be shown that he's been charged with this before. I don't care what he gets, but obviously, if he gets it and is convicted of it, he'll learn to stop unless he wants to go back and then maybe spend 5 years in jail, because then it would be felony. You know what I mean?
Anybody, even if he gets a felony, they're not going to throw somebody in jail for that long. They might throw him in for a few months, maybe a year if it was violent and it was like really bad. They're going to do probation, and they're going to hit him with fines, and they're going to do that type of stuff. They're going to do like ankle monitor. They don't want to throw people in prison unless they're bad people. That's the whole thing. Except for the feds. The feds will throws everybody. Anything you do in the feds,
everybody.
Yeah, it's Star Wars numbers. Like you fart and it's 2 years in the feds. That's just how it is. Really, it's like stupid. They have not. The feds are just. It's stupid.
It's stupid because you're a number and you're an insurance policy.
Yeah, you go to state.
He's got a long history. Just like Connie said, he's got a long history of stalking for years. He's got protection orders against him in Ohio, several of them. He's got no contact orders with his own children. And he's harassed so many people, and Florida hasn't done anything with him yet.
Well, and you don't think that this
accountable, no matter how long he may get in jail or whatever.
You don't think that this becomes the issue in the YouTube case? We have a guy that basically harasses. He's got this harassment, and he teams up with YouTube, gets himself an account manager, and then becomes protected, and then he gets to exploit the design defect in the YouTube algorithm, platform, and policing that people are supposed to be trustful and safe and feel safe with YouTube. and he exploits it. And this is a guy who has a history of stalking people, has a history of harassing people, has a history of doing X, Y, and Z. And that's who they're in bed with. You don't think all
Yeah.
that stuff's going to come in? You don't think stuff's going to go to a jury?
Well, no,
You don't think
I know that. I know ultimately, like YouTube allowing this to happen, or any of the platforms allowing it, could be held responsible in a very, very big way.
like
But
when
you
I
know,
go
we're
to
doing our due diligence. We're reporting it as it happens. So I mean,
like when I
you know,
go to when I take this to court, you know who one of my witnesses is going to be? Robbie. Robbie will be one of my witnesses because everybody
right?
loves Robbie, right? Maybe I get Ray down. I get Ray as a witness. I'll get people that were harassed. I'll get Jeremy Hale's ex-wife. I'll get Jeremy Hale's kid. I'll get them all as witnesses to explain the pattern of this guy and then how he exploited the design defect. And YouTube knew or should have known. They were reckless in allowing this guy to run hold. They even gave him an account manager, and they even gave him YouTube materials and everything else, and aid and support and everything else. So
Yeah,
That's what truly blows my mind about this,
yeah,
Richard, is YouTube's terms and conditions. Sit down and read them, and then watch one of his Sundays and see how many terms and conditions he violates in
all
one
the time.
Sunday.
Yeah, even last Sunday, George said something. I'm like, oh my god, and she's saying like we're violating this, we're violating. I'm like, oh my god, almost every time you guys go live, you're violating.
It just amazes me.
Yeah, you know, he's got her so snowed, or I don't know what's going on, but you know, George said the opinion and things, if we just stuck to the documents in the case and left the drama out, I don't think it would have gotten so far out of hand. I just got burned down on yeah, I hear the burned out part. I can tell you that right now. I'm so tired of the whole repetitive part of this whole thing. It's all, you know, created so much drama. But you know, like I keep saying, I just keep telling the truth. I keep bringing light to all the bullshit that he does live. But when it comes to the court cases, it is about the documents. It is about what's going on there. And you know, my whole point with the rest of it is he has got to be held accountable for trying to ruin people's lives, because that's what
yeah.
he's doing.
Well,
And the
not
only
only
way to
him,
get held
not
accountable
only
is to
him.
make them do it.
It's Tug and all these other
Yeah,
people
all of
too.
them, all of them. You know, I
They
mean,
all
he's got Megan
violated.
and Tug just tonight. You know, he's talking about 5 years of FOIAs. Well, have fun with that, because it's not about me; it's about my neighbors, right? So you're going to inject yourselves into my neighbor's private life. I mean, yes, I know it's FOIA records, but all right, whatever. You know, but you're still you know, inviting yourself into a situation that isn't even local news around here, and it's all because of me that you're doing it. You're going to attack someone's domestic violence issue and bring it all out to this YouTube world because you want to get me or what I said or how I talked about defending her and telling the police what this asshole has done. You go right ahead. I threw my F bombs out there. I cursed my ass off if I did. I don't know, that's what he said.
Well,
But, you know,
look at all these other channels, Lisa,
and
that
she'll
have
sue you. Have fun with
that
that,
have
too.
no clue who Jeremy is, and they jumped on
No.
this to make money, and YouTube
Yep.
is allowing them to get away with this bullshit.
Yep. Absolutely. You know, all I did was literally just call him out for being a bully when he attacked Guapo, right? Then I learned about what he did to Michelle and a little child and John. And I don't care what you think. You may have had an argument with her in a town hall meeting or whatever. He went after the child and used the child against her. You know, and you know, you can say whatever you want, but this guy's got no rights. He can't even he doesn't even have relationships with his own kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, where do you get off even talking about how to raise someone's child? You know nothing about her sickness. She's got more than he even knows. He only keeps talking about one thing. She has other issues involved. You know, uh, it's just it's crazy where he went. It's crazy how long he did it. It wasn't just me. This is about his behavior, about his conduct, and him lying so badly to destroy these people's lives. And they didn't have a
Dude,
voice. They didn't have a YouTube channel they were promoting.
it cracks me up, Lisa, because they all sit there and jump on his bandwagon, and they have no clue who he is. I filmed with
No,
him.
no
I
clue.
know who he is. I was friends with him, and
Right.
I told nothing but the truth. That's why he was so intimidated by me. That's why he dragged me into it. You want to go? Let's go, brother, because you're
So
a
I
liar,
watched what
you're
he
a
did with
piece of shit,
Robbie.
and God is
I,
on my
I watched.
side.
I watched
I,
what he did with Robbie. I didn't say anything. I joked, the Crayola thing, Jim Jones jumping off the boat from Madagascar. But I didn't go after Jeremy and talk about his conduct and behavior because Robbie said not to. You know what I mean? So I was like, ugh, he's just a bully. But when he went after Guapo so publicly like that, and literally assaulted Guapo, I'm like, no, this guy is a bully, and this is bullshit. And so I said something, and I didn't know that there was that many people out there that agreed with me.
Well,
You know,
Lisa, you called me and you said what?
yep. I said, well, first I remember when the whole Chapo thing, and Chapo was, Guapo was talking about him. I said, you got to see what the hell just happened here. Guapo was talking about Jeremy. And then when he attacked him, I called you and I said, I can't just sit here and not say anything about this. This is crazy.
Then what
And
did I say?
you said, go ahead. You said, do what you got to do.
I said,
You
do
know?
what you got to do, but beware
Yep.
because he's going to lie
Uh huh.
and twist things,
Yeah.
and he is going to go on full attack.
Yep. And that's what he did. It took him a
and
minute, but he
that's
did.
guys, that's the big point here is that, I got two things. One, I have a thing here. I'll do this first. I have a thing to show Lisa. Put that up on the
All right, hold
screen.
on. It's so
This
weird.
is
I'm
a
not
new
getting the sound to pop
this
anything
is a
on.
new word for everybody. Okay, called brigading. Have you ever heard of the word brigading before, Lisa?
Yeah,
Um,
I have.
yeah,
This
but
this this is what they do. Harassment and cyberbullying policy explicitly calls out and forbids brigading. When an individual encourages the coordinated abuse of an identifiable individual on or off YouTube,
it
right?
also goes along with gang stalking
And
too.
its
But yeah.
enforcement approaches notes for acts for repeated or coordinated harassment, counter removal strikes, demonetization, suspension, termination. I
Oh
think we
yeah,
have a case for brigading by Jeremy Hales, but I
I
think the
agree
two
with
biggest,
that.
100%.
I think the two biggest targets, that we have. I think Michelle's probably one of the biggest targets. I think Bruce is one of the biggest targets,
I think
and
Bruce is
both.
Yeah.
bigger than Michelle.
Bruce might be the biggest target for brigading that I think I've seen.
Right.
Bruce basically they're trying to he's trying to destroy Bruce's livelihood, and there's some bullshit case that they got from some judge to sign off in Levy County that's like. Then they delivered it up in Connecticut and in Massachusetts, trying to go after Bruce's license. He's got to pay money. He's got to do all this stuff, and it's nothing. It's BS. But this is brigading. They're using YouTube to harass Bruce. They've been anti-Semitic against Bruce. They've really, and they're doing this stuff not only online but in real life. It's a coordinated harassment campaign. So I really
Right.
think that we have to start identifying the brigade as what they are. I think that's the new term I'm going to use from now on, the brigade. I think that
Yeah.
Germ and that Shockett and that Megan and Tug and Jay Jip and Chizzy No Nuts and Mr. Kook
Dumb
and
nuts.
all these other people. I think they're
The
part of a
AI
brigade.
machine.
I think we can pull out one of those mafia.
Don't forget about that veteran idiot.
All these idiots, yeah. But I think we can do this like they have the old mafia charts, the five
Right.
family. I think we can make a brigade out of these people that
Oh
will
my
hold
god, I
up
already
in a
did. I'll
court of.
send you over my tree.
I think the brigade will hold up in a court of law. I really do. And
I'll
frankly,
show you the tree. No joke. I'll
yeah.
show you the
And
tree.
and I think that if we make these things, I think that I don't think YouTube can say that they have no idea that this is going on. I think we've made enough
Oh, they
complaints.
can't.
I think
There's
we
way
make
too
some
many
more
reports.
complaints specifically about brigading. And if nothing is done to these people after our brigading, then it makes this case that much better. I'm going to be counterclaiming anyway So it's gonna make my brigading case. I think brigading is gonna be the key to what they're doing, and
Yeah.
that their brigading exploits a design defect
Well, let's see. I
within.
got the coordinated harassment. I got the content removal, strikes, tries to demonetize and suspend me, and termination. You guys got that. I don't have the termination, but he's tried to do all that with me as well. I'm his main target at the moment. At the very moment, I'm his main target. So, uh, you're going to be his court target for right now because I think you're the only one vocal and about what he's doing.
But what's he going to do in court? What's he going to say? Oh, I want to take this case away. You know,
He's not really saying like in court.
he has a stupid situation. His weakness is he allows everything to go to the end to get court
Right.
rulings and everything else. So that's what I'm going to use his weakness against him. Like he could pull this case tomorrow and not have any issue, but he's not. It's not in his DNA. So I'm going to make it so that it never gets to a judge's decision. It's going to be a situation where it's going to go on and on and on in discovery, and there's going to be more stuff there, and we're going to get more parties in, and there's going to be subpoenas, and the whole fight, all the motions are going to be about discovery. So when you have a discovery motion trying to subpoena records from third parties, trying to get records from the other part, from this one, from that one, it's not you don't resolve anything. You just create more content. So that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
I'm just going to create content.
I gotta run to the ladies. Robbie, you need to take care of this. I'll be right back. I'm going.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. I think.
Go ahead, Rich.
I think that's what we're going to do. I think that's. I think we have brigading as an issue. I think Bruce is like the test case, or the best case here of somebody who's been harassed to no end. Right. I think that he's the target of the brigading. Volpe is a clear target. Volpe's a clear target of brigading. Right. Other people have lost channels. They're targets of brigading on and off. Michelle is a target of brigading between the harassment, the calls, this, that. Robbie, you are, Lisa. So we have this brigading where YouTube talks about brigading as part of its terms and conditions, and yet this brigading has been going on, and there's been enough complaints so far. But I think if we make very clear complaints to YouTube now, we set it up so that they do nothing. Then it's going to be a real problem for them based on the new case law that's coming out, because this is a design defect. Because when the brigading goes in and the complaints, it's not handled by a human being. It's handled by the AI system, and the AI system doesn't treat brigading seriously enough, given the actual real world facts that YouTube and Alphabet and Google have notice of. So I think this is and Bruce, I'm going to ask Bruce about this because this looks like a punitive damages case to me. It really, really does. So we shall see.
I don't even know what to say, and I don't even know what to say about you. I don't even know what to say about Skipper. What you guys did to me, listen. I forgive you, but will I ever be friends with you people? Absolutely not. I walk away from people like you because A, didn't vet anything. You ran your mouths about stuff you knew nothing about. You said stuff about me, which I've always been totally open about in my life. So I hate to say this because I don't want to be that person, but F you.
All right.
That's beautiful. Well said,
All right.
Robbie.
Well, I missed whatever that was about. I just came back to
No,
that.
he did not. Listen. What he did was absolutely disgusting. And what my friend did, my friend John, he served in the Army and in the Marines, in special ops, in both. He stuck his ass on the line for this country, for you who live in this country, for me who lives in this country, where I have lost family who stuck their asses on the line, and friends for this country. And Skipper can kiss my ass, because what he did with that doll is absolutely disgusting. And I stand by what John said for him to do.
Are you talking about the
100%.
stuffed animal? Are you talking about the stuffed animal thing?
The Vet Nation, what he did with the stuffed animal thing and with the doll
Yeah.
is absolutely disgusting. I'm not. This is you want passion. You're. This is me passionate about something. I stand for this country. I stand for our vets. I've worked with our vets. I still do, and I support them 100%. But when you have one like that, absolutely not.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Rich?
So I think that what Jeremy has done now by raising the anti-Semitism issue again in this third amended complaint, the new thing that he's
Uh-huh.
filed.
Yeah.
I think what we should really seriously think about doing is making the anti-Semitism an issue. I may very well
100%.
start a fundraiser for Bruce Matskin. He's had to pay $50,000 in legal fees because of Jeremy Hales. I think we should at least get him back some of his legal fees. That's not a
Do you
bad
think
idea,
he's
right?
gonna ask for legal
Exactly.
fees
What was I thinking?
too?
Who, Jeremy Hales?
No. Do you think that Bruce will ask for attorney fees?
Well, he's
Or
got attorney's fees, but they're not related all to the cases themselves. There's some related to the case. He's got a very good lawyer in the case in the Fed 2 case, but he has to because he's a lawyer, he has to spend money to protect his law license from bullshit claims that Jeremy Hales makes. And what
you're right.
Shaka did was
Just that,
they ran into that judge, that the hometown judge in Florida,
Yes,
who said
DRD. I've talked to him.
that said that Bruce violated the Florida rules and this, that, and the other thing. And the judge made a ruling that has no basis in law or fact. And the judge couldn't even make that ruling because only the Florida Supreme Court can make a ruling like that. And Bruce is only admitted in Florida pro hoc vice. So there couldn't have been any issue like the way, but they made this ruling and then they sent it up to where he's admitted up in Connecticut and up in Massachusetts. And now it's become an issue for him because he has to pay, lawyers to represent him up there. Now he's probably going to be fine in the sense that he'll probably win. This whole thing will start to come apart, but it's $50,000 later, and there's no place to go for that money. So I think this is basically. I think this is part and parcel to Jeremy Hales' anti-Semitism. I think he's anti-Semitic. I think he doesn't like Bruce Matskin because he's Jewish, and he's trying to cause him harm because he's Jewish. And I think that's the thing we need to get behind. He raised it in his third amendment complaint. I think we got to put this front and center. I think we should do a GoFundMe and get some of the Jewish charities involved and everything else, and raise awareness for anti-Semitism and what Jeremy Hales is doing. I really think so. That's my 2 cents.
Sorry. Allergies.
So we'll see what happens.
These people are disgusting.
No, but didn't Jeremy try to claim that he has got Jewish DNA in him or something like that? That was one of his answers.
Look, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, does that make it right?
No.
No,
it doesn't. Absolutely not.
That's the issue. I'm part this. I'm part. That doesn't make it right, though. It doesn't matter what you are. Your conduct is reprehensible no matter what.
I agree 100%. That's why I'm here. That's why I finally spoke up and said something. I've seen too much of it, and I didn't even know what was going on with Michelle and John and Harley Grace. I had no clue. I didn't know who they were. I was like, who the hell is he suing now? Because I watched him pull the whole Marilyn Raby thing and attack the aunt, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this woman is like 80 years old. And she just wants to probably just settle her life and and just get rid of things that she's no longer going to be using anymore. And he's attacking this woman, threatening to sue her for $1 million, and then acts like oh, I just was being a good guy and I just dropped it. Like, you had no standing. Just like now, you're a joke. You subletted, a warehouse from a guy who was, watching it for her. Who knows if he even gave her money for it? She's trying to sell the place. Get out. You knew you had to get out for how long that she was selling it? Get out. And he just he just drug it on. And it's like, as soon as he knew he could do that and use that court case for his content, he tried finding more court cases to go into. And that's why he kept starting with the neighbors and stuff in Otter Creek. One by one, all surrounding his property, went after each one of them. Michelle is the one that stood out because she had a voice and she fought with him. But he went after
This
the
guy,
people who
I
fought.
actually worked on the wall thing,
The what?
the veterans wall.
Oh.
I did a whole fundraiser for that.
But you could see how his channel changed from one thing to another. And once he started suing people, the asshole in him started showing. And it's more and more. I mean, now he's just unhinged. You know, now that's all he talks about. That's all his channel is about. And now he's gone back to, opening more storage units. But in the meantime, while he's doing it, he's mocking everybody, you know. And, it's still staging shit. That $100,000 is such a joke. Um, you got busted with that and then try to act like, oh, you don't get humor and sarcasm. No, dude, you got busted. You got busted showing a fake unit that you staged this money in, and you're trying to cover your butt because somebody caught it. And it wasn't me. But it's just a shame. I just think that I think what you're doing, I think your strategy, I think what you're talking about doing, I think it's great. I think it's brilliant. And
It is.
I'm right. Yeah.
Richard, I will. Rips and I talked about him when Richard first came into this, and it I was like, I love this guy, and Rips is like, he's a
Gabe
genius.
loves him. Gabe, he goes, tell Richard I'm his number one fan. But I mean, he just has to be stopped legally by everybody involved. Everybody that has been a victim of his needs to come forward, whether it's suing themselves, coming forward as a witness in all the cases, some of the cases, whoever. Everybody just needs to come forward. I think it is very
Right on,
important to
Harper.
show the courts his character and let the court know who they're dealing with. And if that means you have to bring in Sarah or Jason, I understand. I would not want to, but I understand that. Um, I just think it just needs to stop. There's a lot more people doing the same exact thing that Jeremy's doing on YouTube and other platforms, and people like him need to stop. They cannot use these platforms to destroy people's lives. And to me, that's the most important thing. That's what I've been saying all along, especially little children. You know, and if it takes someone like me to step forward, get hurt in the meantime, I didn't know that was what's going to happen. But
Lisa, what you did was, it takes kahunas, and I my hat's off to you, sweetheart. You know that, and
and Richard,
Richard, what you're doing, dude. This is what's going to stop this piece of shit.
yeah,
Well, what I really want to explore, and one of the things I'm really thinking about is what's her name, the leather-faced one. Doreen Turner Icholas, the one with the leather face.
I'm
So
like, who's he talking about?
the thing is, she was online on Facebook as Itty Bitty Kitty, right?
Yeah,
And the problem is, if she's online doing that in social media, how do we know that she wasn't one of the people doing the mass reporting and some of the other stuff on YouTube? And
right,
so if she's doing some of that mass reporting stuff, it takes her from
I love you, Pebs.
acting as a lawyer to acting as a participant, and it actually
exactly.
puts liability on the firm itself. I don't think that Shockett was doing mass reporting, but I do believe that Doreen may have been doing social media activity and mass reporting. So
Right.
that creates a situation, because she's affiliated with the Shockett law firm. It allows me to get at their malpractice as well. So
Right.
this could become a very big case, depending on what we uncover. Now, at the end of the day, is it about money for me? No, it never was about money. That's the problem with my life. It's never been about money for me. It's more about me just getting in there. It's more about the fight.
Right.
I like to fight more than I like to win. And
Right.
I win a lot, but I like to fight. I like to fight. That's just how I like it. And I love to win. Winning is the best, but I like fighting even more. That's just how it is.
Right.
So. And I'm
So
always
there's a
winning.
big difference in what he just said compared to Hales. I don't sue people to win. I sue them to bankrupt them.
And that's when you know that's an evil person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
What's he
right
going to go to
there.
bank? Listen, if Jeremy Hill's got $1 million judgment against me tomorrow, my life wouldn't change one iota.
Right.
That's the best part. There's nothing he can do to me. They've already done it to me, and he doesn't get that. He's got the wrong one. He ran into the wrong one. I'm one in a fucking million. I'm maybe one in 10 million. He ran into the wrong one though. That's just
Yeah.
it. Right? I have one of the best educations that you can have in the world. Ivy League school, law school, master of laws. I've done things all around the world. I've done it all. I was in New York, the center of this stuff, and now they took it all from me. Take somebody with my level of what I know, what I've done, and then add to that nothing to lose at all. Nothing left to lose. What do I have left to lose? Money? No. The government wants millions from me. To reputation? No, they killed that. Do I have anybody? No, I don't have like I have kids or a wife or anything like that I have to worry about. I'm like I'm the perfect person to go and do this. It's like what do they got? What do they got? They got nothing. They can't do a thing to me unless they want to send a hitman. But at the end of the day, I've seen real people that would send real hitmen, and they're not these people. They're the type of people that he would try to do something like that. And he'd probably call up, he'd go to like murderforhire.com and call somebody on the phone, and the feds would be on the other end. And that's the type of idiot that we're dealing with. He's not a real, person you have to worry about like that. He's just he's a gadfly more than anything else. He's an annoyance, and he's taken that annoyance to a big level. He's combined televangelism with large
Are you
scale
trying
harassment.
to tell me he's actually the flea? Fleas are those annoying little bugs, you know what I mean? And he keeps calling me the flea. I think he's the flea. Just like he's
I
claimed
think
everything
I think he's the tick.
the tick. Yeah, it's crazy. I am the walrus. By the way, Robbie, thanks for my walrus. It was awesome.
Oh, you're
So
welcome.
cute. So cute. Um, anyhow, what time is it? Holy crap, it's 1:30.
I know. My butt's going to bed.
It's late, guys. Well, Rich, thanks for coming on and hanging out with us and telling us all about it. I love your strategy.
I guarantee you they're probably going to be studying this episode because they're not going to know what to do with it. It's going to take them a couple of weeks to understand what I said. Then it's going to take another couple of weeks for them to actually get really scared about what I said.
Rich, right now he's ignoring his whatnot, and he's just thinking, "Oh my God, what, 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 what?"
Listen. I don't think he's smart enough to understand the trouble that he's in. I really don't.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, I think that he'd get off very easily if we did a trial by combat. I think that would be the easiest way out for him, and that was actually, compassion and kindness. I think to give him, if I get what I want and I get to chop his head off. But
I think some people really think you're serious about chopping his head off.
Well, this is all satire. You have to understand that. I'm not trying to.
I think people think it's like really serious.
You think this Game of Thrones is real. That's what you think. Oh, hey, he's crazy. He wants to go and chop his head off. Yeah. I don't want to chop his head off. It's called satire. Satire, you people. Now, that being said, I would like to do alternative dispute resolution with Mr. Hales because we have an agreement to do that. But I don't want to do it. I want to do it in a non-conventional way. Like there's plenty of different things we could do. Like I think we should ask as the people, have everybody out there think about what we should do. Like you could do a lot of different things to try to settle something. We can have a race.
I think it should be a Monopoly game, a game of Monopoly.
I think it's a good question. You know what, guys? Tell me in the chat. I mean, I don't know how many people are still, following along. Tell us in the chat what you think a good challenge would be, and if you're watching the replay, definitely leave a comment. And tell us what you think that the challenge should be for Richard in this case for Jeremy.
I think we should do something like, you remember in the old school, they had all these different things you had to do. You had like 10 or so different, disciplines. You had to do debate. You had to do spirit and cheer. You had to do this. We should get like 10 things that we have to do, all different disciplines. Some physical, some mental, some this, some that. Some skill, some unskill, and then just do it like a decathlon, but like
an obstacle course of chess or something. I don't know. Like, oh my god, I'd love to see you
I
guys
would
play
destroy
chess.
him in chess. I play chess every day. He would get killed in chess. Oh my god, I would destroy him.
A cornhole tourney. Tummy
Cornhole.
sticks.
What's tummy sticks?
I don't know what tummy
I
sticks
don't know
are.
what that is.
An IQ test. Like a delta, beta, gamma initiation. Ooh.
There you go.
The obstacle course, and I can't remember what it's called. Oh, I forget. That used to be like a field day for us in school. I wonder how far you guys can throw the shot put.
Shot put. There we go. I did shot put when I was a kid. Actually.
Me too. That's what I remember in the field day. It was all like obstacle courses and the games and the races. 50-yard dash.
I did shot put and I did discus when I did track and field. Yeah, I didn't do much of the track stuff. I did more of the field.
Yeah, I did. What do we have? Shot put, and I did tug of war. We had a tug of war because obviously we had teams. But yeah, that's I don't remember what. Actually, Robbie, you and Gabe were supposed to do an obstacle course challenge.
I used to do the mud man challenge thing.
We could do something like that. Yeah, definitely put in the chat what you think, and on the replay, leave a comment saying what you think should be a really good challenge.
That'd be a good challenge.
Yeah.
I think that'd be
We
fun.
can make it a lot of fun. Like we can actually have a lot of fun doing this. Like paintball is a great idea because like if he was halfway smart, right? If he was halfway smart, he would sit down with me, right? Me, him, and somebody else with half a brain, and figure out 3 or 4 or 5 different things that we could do.
My
And we
angel.
could make money to do it. In the sense that we could get sponsorships. We get paintball companies and stuff to sponsor the paintball part. We could do this. We could broadcast this. We can make this a national friggin' thing over the fact that we're having a thing and do it in a place. So I suggested Newport Richie because it's not too far. Yeah, alligator wrestling's not a bad.
I was just gonna say I was gonna wait for you to finish.
That's not a bad idea. I can wrestle an alligator.
How about a mud?
The problem is I don't think
challenge
Durham would be
through
okay
the Gator
with
Marsh.
wrestling the alligator. That's the problem.
A mud challenge in the Gator Marsh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wherever it's at, I'll bring the Foxy Boxers. It'll be fun.
Yeah. We'll see. Like if he was smart, that's what he would do. If he wants, if his whole thing is about money, he's not going to make any money from me from the lawsuit. He's going to cost himself lots of money. We do some type of event, and then me and him are done. We don't have to worry about this anymore. But at this point, I don't know. I'm just going to make this. I'm going to turn it into what I can turn it into. $50 million lawsuit. That would be a lot of fun. Bringing YouTube, and I got a story. I got a good enough, plausible legal story and factual story to at least get into discovery and cause a lot of fun on this thing. It could be a lot of fun. This thing. So we'll see.
I'll be there, right there with you. Let me know to sign up to the YouTube thing.
Yeah.
I'm at Gladiators. Was that the
American Gladiators? We do a few things from American Gladiators. We go like Joust. We do Joust from American Gladiators. And what's the one? What was the one where they have the tennis balls where they're shooting the tennis balls at the person, and they have the one I'm talking about?
I've seen it, but I'm not sure. Was that on Gladiators?
That's what it's called, Assault. But American Gladiators was the show back in the day. Oh my God, it was the greatest show in the world. And you would do, and they would have all the different things. They'd have Joust. They'd have the one where you're hanging from the ceiling. You go across, and you got to get the person that way. But Assault was the one with the tennis ball gun where you shoot. The gladiator was shooting the people as they ran. We could do an American Gladiator portion of it too. That would be really, really
oh my God, that would be hilarious.
And the one with the big balls, you put the people in the big metal balls, and they would go around through that. And they had to go to the bases. That was good.
Sylvia wants something with knowledge and brains and trivia.
I would win that all, though. That's the problem. But I'll take If we did like Jeopardy, I would friggin' kick his ass in Jeopardy. Like, what the hell is he gonna do? Trivial Pursuit? He wouldn't even have one piece of the pie. I'd have the whole thing. I'd be around the board twice. Come on, he's out of his mind. Really, he's not a
John,
bright guy.
Halo
You know.
Oh man.
guy? Too
All right,
funny.
my butt's going to bed. Good night,
Yeah,
everybody.
we're gonna
God
end
bless.
this tonight, guys. I hope you had fun. Rich, thanks so much for coming on.
Good
We're gonna
night.
keep you
Always a pleasure,
updated.
brother.
All right,
Have
guys.
an amazing week, guys. I wish you guys all the prayers that you could have, and let's pray for those children, the 8 children who lost their lives. That is so sad. I have to go read about it.
Right
I don't want to really,
there.
but I have to. Prayers for their families. What a terrible, horrible, horrible, God, tragedy. That's I can't. I'm so sad about that. So I want to send prayers out to those families, and prayers out to all of you, and thank you so much for supporting the channel and being here. I will be back on Tuesday at 10 p.m. with Roberto and I guess Scoot
And Scoot.
and Scoot. Thanks again, Rich, for being here. And guys, have a great night and positive thoughts for your week. See you on Tuesday. Good
Good night.
night.
Bye bye. Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye bye.
Bye.
Ta ta
Bye.
for now.
Bye.